What if the moments that are changing your life don't actually feel life changing while they're happening? What if change isn't always the big breakthrough, the dramatic decision, or the moment when everything suddenly clicks? Maybe it's one deep breath before you respond. Maybe it's 10 minutes spent playing with your child when your mind is telling you there are 100 other things you should be doing. Maybe it's showing up for therapy, recording another podcast episode, or making one healthy choice even when you don't immediately feel different. We tend to look for proof that we're growing. We want the big before and after picture, the clear sign that says, look at me, I've changed, I'm doing better. But I'm beginning to realize that the most meaningful progress is much quieter than that. Hey guys, welcome back to Life and Bullshit. Today I want to talk about something I read in my morning reflection today. Consistency is quiet, but it's incredibly powerful. That sentence stayed with me because I think so much of us underestimate the small things we do every day, especially when they don't feel impressive, especially when no one's applauding, and especially when we're still struggling while we're doing them. Recently, I made a point to put everything else down and spend time playing in the pool with my girls, and we played dolls, laughed, and we were just together. There wasn't a big plan. It wasn't a vacation or some perfectly organized family experience. It was simply time together. And my daughter made a comment about how I made that time to play with them. And I felt two things at once. I felt happy because she noticed I was there, but I also felt that little sting like, ouch, does she notice all the times when I'm not as present as I want to be? My first instinct could have been to take that beautiful experience and turn it into another reason to criticize myself, because that's what our minds can do. We can take a good moment and immediately search for evidence that we haven't done enough. But I'm trying to look at that differently. Yes, my daughter noticed I made time for her, and that means the moment mattered. She noticed I showed up. She noticed that in that moment, she had my full attention. Maybe I don't have to use her comment as proof of everything I believe I've done wrong. Maybe I can let it be proof that coming back matters. Because being present doesn't mean being perfectly available every minute of every day. It doesn't mean creating a magical childhood every morning before breakfast. It doesn't mean planning outings consistently or keeping up with what every other family appears to be doing. Maybe it means continuing to returning after you've been distracted, returning after you've been overwhelmed, returning after you've lost your patience, returning after work, stress, anxiety, or your own thoughts have pulled you away. Think about someone you love. When was the last time you gave them a few minutes of your full attention? Not while checking your phone, not while thinking about what needed to happen next, just being there. Sometimes we believe that if we can't give someone hours of perfect attention, a few minutes won't matter, but they do matter. A child remembers you getting down on the floor and joining their game. They remember you listening to the long story that didn't seem to have an ending. They remember when you looked at them and made them feel like, for a moment, that they were the most important person in the room. And adults need that too. We all want to feel heard. We all want to feel chosen. We all want to know somebody is really with us. One of the other things in my morning briefing was about AI and human connection. It said that technology can be valuable when it frees us from routine tasks, but it should never replace conversations, play, and responsive human interaction. And I thought that was such an important distinction. AI can help me organize my thoughts. It can help me prepare for therapy, write something I've struggled to put into words, or plan an activity for my children. It can help me create time, but it cannot sit in the pool with my daughters. It can't make eye contact with them. It can't laugh at the ridiculous story they're telling me or make them feel chosen and understood. I mean, technology can give us tools, but we still have to decide when we use the time those tools you know, give back to us. And this isn't only about parenting. Consistency shows up everywhere. It's taking one breath before sending the angry text. It's going for a 10-minute walk instead of deciding exercise only counts if you complete a full workout. It's choosing to speak to yourself a little differently after years of believing your inner critic was telling you the truth. It's going to therapy even when you feel like you're repeating yourself. It's apologizing after you yell instead of deciding, the entire day is ruined. It's recording the next episode even when you're unsure who's listening. it, and it's getting back up without needing to pretend you never fell. What is one quiet thing you've been doing that deserves more credit? Maybe you've been trying to listen more. Maybe you've been drinking more water. Maybe you've been setting a boundary. Maybe you've been checking in with your child, your partner, or yourself. Maybe you're simply making it through a difficult season without giving up. We often dismiss those things because they seem too small, but a life is made of small moments. Relationships are built through small moments. Trust is built through small moments. And sometimes healing is simply choosing a different response one more time than you did before. You may not see the result today. Your child may not immediately become calmer because you paused before reacting once. Your anxiety may not disappear because you took one deep breath. Your relationship may not completely change because you had one meaningful conversation. But that doesn't mean it didn't matter. One choice becomes two. Two become a pattern. And eventually, the thing that once required all your effort becomes to feel a little more natural. Not perfect, just different. So maybe you don't need to reinvent your entire life today. Maybe you don't need a dramatic promise, a perfect morning routine, or a completely new version of yourself. Maybe you just need one small moment that points you towards the life you want. One breath before reacting. One conversation where you truly listen. One promise you keep to yourself. One moment where your child feels that you are fully there. Consistency may be quiet, but quiet does not mean insignificant. The moments that change us are not always the moments that look impressive from the outside. Sometimes they look like playing dolls in a swimming pool. Sometimes they look like an apology. Sometimes they look like trying again tomorrow. And maybe the life you're hoping to create isn't waiting for one enormous breakthrough. Maybe you're already building it quietly, imperfectly, and one small moment at a time. If you're enjoying Life and Bullshit, please follow wherever you listen. And today, before you move on to the next thing, notice one small moment you're proud of. Let it count, because it does.